Prime is brought to you by
Misho, Wa, Andekhi Variety, Ansuni Dam.
Sterling Reserve, Come Alive, and Himalaya Purifying Neem Face Wash, Pimple Free, Healthy Skin Ka Expert.
Core committee fails to come up with concrete resolution, puts ball in centre's court again to end deadlock over Naga issue. Core committee urges Prime Minister Modi, Home Minister Shah to invite NSCNIM for concluding peace process. Assam records highest number of deaths due to floods and landslides this year, 195 casualties so far, 37 people still missing. Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sharma highlights massive relief push. Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sharma terms Namsai declaration as historic move to achieve united Northeast. Assam and Arunachal confident about resolving dispute by year's end. One more body recovered from Manipur's Tupul landslide disaster site. A number of deceased increases to 55, 6 persons still missing. Mukul Sangma targets Conrad Sangma government over law and order scenario, alleges government complacency in dealing with the situation. And high-level BJP meeting underway at party headquarters in New Delhi. Prime Minister Modi, Union Home Minister Amit Shah, JP Nadda attend meeting to select party's vice presidential candidate. Hello and welcome to Evening Prime. I'm Ronak and we start the bulletin with the big story related to the Naga peace talks. The core committee on the Naga peace talks today failed to come up with a much-awaited concrete resolution on the peace talks and instead put the onus of breaking the deadlock in the peace process on the government of India. The core committee, comprising of Nagaland MPs and MLAs, adopted a resolution urging Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Union Home Minister Amit Shah to invite the NSCNIM for talks in a bid to conclude the Naga peace process. In its resolution, the core committee acknowledged that the talks officially ended on the 31st of October 2019 and appealed to the negotiating parties to refer to competencies as reflected in the framework agreement of the 3rd of August 2015 to arrive at a mutually acceptable solution which is honorable, acceptable and inclusive. The core committee also urged Prime Minister Narendra Modi as well as Union Home Minister Amit Shah to invite the NSIM leadership for an early solution. So there you have it, viewers. The big development as far as the Naga peace talks are concerned. The core committee on the peace talks today failed to come up with a much-awaited concrete resolution on the peace talks and instead put the onus of breaking the deadlock in the peace process on the government of India. The core committee, comprising of Nagaland MPs and MLAs, adopted a resolution urging Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Union Home Minister Amit Shah to invite the NSCNIM for talks in a bid to conclude the Naga peace process. And in its resolution, the core committee acknowledged that the talks officially ended on the 31st of October 2019 and appealed to the negotiating parties to refer to competencies as reflected in the framework agreement of 3rd August 2015 to arrive at a mutually acceptable solution that is honorable, acceptable, and inclusive. The core committee also urged Prime Minister Narendra Modi as well as Union Home Minister Amit Shah to invite the NSCNIM leaders for an early solution.
Mainly that is based on the 31st October 2019, where the talks has been concluded. Based on that, we are requesting the Honorable Prime Minister and then Union Home Minister to invite the IM leadership also for conclusion of the these talks.
What about MNPCs?
Well, for them, they have already agreed. For them, anytime there is no issue. But IM leadership have got issues. Well, since the talk has been completed, now we want to request the Honorable Prime Minister and Union Home Minister to invite them so that for a final solution. Yeah, this will.
Any deadlines you have asked them?
No, no, no.
And Northeast Live editor-in-chief Wasbir Hussain gave his perspective on the core committee resolution while talking to my colleague Pooja earlier this evening. Let's listen into this conversation once again.
Was there a crucial resolution adopted by the parliamentary committee? Has it put the ball back in the centre court?
Well, Pooja, first of all, it's a very, simple resolution described in a very complex manner by the core committee today. Now, basically, the core committee wants that a solution should be arrived at in accordance with the framework agreement of 3rd of August 2015. Now, they have definitely put the onus back at the court of the Government of India by appealing to the Prime Minister and the Union Home Minister to invite the NSC and IM for talks so that the dialogue process or the peace process can be concluded. Now, it's a very simple resolution that today's core committee has taken. Everybody has been saying that it's a very crucial meeting. Yes, it was a crucial meeting because it had come in the backdrop of the stalemate to the Naga peace talks. The stalemate has arisen after the 31st May resolution of the NSC and IM, wherein it has said that there can be no solution unless a separate flag and constitution is granted to the Nagas. So that has resulted in the deadlock. After that, there were attempts by the civil society. In fact, the Global Naga Forum had made Assam Chief Minister and NEDA convener Dr. Himanta Biswa Sharma, and later the GNF had also made the NSC and IM in order to see that the talks resume. In this backdrop, the core committee meeting was held today. So a lot of people thought that the core committee would come up with a formula to break the stalemate or to break the deadlock. Or a lot of people thought that the core committee might even set a framework or might set a time frame for the Government of India and the negotiating parties like the NSC and IM and NNPGs to resolve their differences and sign a possible solution. But nothing of this happened. The core committee simply put the ball at the door of the central government, and they have urged the Prime Minister and the Union Home Minister to invite the NSC and IMs for an early conclusion of the dialogue process. The only significant takeaway from this meeting of the core committee, where all the MLAs and MPs of the Nagaland, of elected MLAs and MPs of Nagaland attended, the significant point is that the core committee has also, put its seal of approval to the fact that the talks had officially concluded on 31st of October 2019. That was the belief that a lot of people said at that time, that the talks have concluded. In fact, following the 31st October 2019 talks in New Delhi, the NNPG had said that the talks had concluded. They have nothing more to add. They were ready to sign on the dotted lines. But that was not the case with the NSC and IM. Now, today, for the first time, the core committee had officially said that the Naga peace talks had actually ended on 31st October 2019. And therefore, now that some differences have cropped up even after that date, with the NSC and IM saying that a flag and constitution is a must, the deadlock has come about. And this is what the core committee now said, that it is up to the central government to invite the NSC and IM and conclude the peace process.
All right. Now, Wasbir, another significant point that you mentioned is that the core committee has acknowledged that talks ended officially on October 31st, 2019. So does that change the way things are being looked at the moment, especially when some CSOs have been saying that talks must resume?
If you go by the core committee's resolution, the talks have ended. They have also acknowledged the fact that the talks have ended. That's what is the position of the NNPGs as well. Now, when we say the talks has to resume, it is only after the NSC and IM has stuck to its decision of a flag and constitution. Now, a lot of people are also asking the question as to what was the NSC and IM doing in the last 25 years that the talk process was going on. Why was this issue of a flag and constitution for separate flag and constitution for the Nagas not resolved in the last 25 years? Why has it cropped up suddenly now? So that is the feeling, that is the question a lot of people are asking. But NSC and IM is now saying that that is the core issue. In fact, there has been a statement by the NSC and IM chairman Q Tuku to the fact that these are the core issues. And again, on the 31st May, when the Emergency National Assembly was called by the NSC and IM, around 2,000 people had attended. Even in that, during that session, this particular resolution was passed that there can be no solution without the flag and constitution. Now, even the core committee, some members of the core committee, or for that matter, groups close to the NNPGs, are saying that what is the significance of a flag if there is no integration of the Naga areas? And some of the core committee members have even said that the government of India has gone to the extent of allowing the Nagas to use their flag for all purposes except in government establishments and during government functions. So, but the NSC and IM would not listen to any of this and stick to their demand. And in view of this, the core committee, I would say, has failed today. Core committee has failed today to come up with any formula to resolve the deadlock or break the stalemate. In fact, they have not come up with any suggestion of their own, except the fact that they have urged upon the central government, that is the Prime Minister and the Indian Home Minister, to invite the NSCNIM and resume the dialogue so that it can be concluded. So that way, this meeting, although it was considered or touted as a crucial meeting, has ended in actually a whimper with absolutely no way forward shown by the core committee today.
And on to the big story from Assam now. The state has recorded the highest number of 195 casualties due to floods and landslides this year. This was informed by Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sharma today. Sharma informed that while 19 persons died in landslide-related incidents, the remaining 176 died in floods. And not just this, the death toll is expected to rise further as 37 persons are still missing. Chief Minister Sharma also informed that as many as 90 lakh people in 34 districts of the state were affected by the deluge, which means that 1/3 of Assam's population has been impacted.
As of now, our duita wave lock korile 195 people has had lost their life. Aru moi dekhat, this is one of the biggest human casualty in the flood. Our Commissioner Revenue has confirmed that the casualty figure of 195 is so far highest in the floods. So, yet landslide is included. Jito floodor homoy jito landslide hoisile, landslide is included. Jodi apnalukok landslide hisapot lage, then landslide deaths were 19. So out of 195 human life we lost during the flood, ji manuhor mitru hol, tare 19 jon landslide and baki hokol floodor khetrot. Aru eta important kotha ase je etiao ami 37 jon manuhok bisari poa nai. So obviously ami 37 manuhok bisaribo laibo ar nohole eta samoyot governmentot ami eta decision lobo laibo that for the purpose of compensation that we have to declare that as a ami napalu dead body eneke ami policeor pa report lobo laibo. But first we have to confirm whether they are alive. Jodi alive nohoy tetla ami dhori lobo laibo je they have also died.
And admitting that it was one of the worst flood-related disasters that the state has witnessed in years, Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sharma also highlighted the massive relief push rolled out to help the masses overcome the crisis. Distribution of relief, Sharma said, has been the key since the time people were evacuated to safer places. In fact, the government has so far distributed 2.19 lakh quintals of rice and 43,000 quintals of pulses to the affected people.
Barak Valley, most of the time, we have used Air Force. Karon, Shillongor Rasta completely bond hoi goisile, amar jito Clarier districts of Meghalaya. To Jorhator pora, aru Guwahatir pora, Barak Upoityoka aru Dima Hasao, ami massive airdropping korisilu. Total 77 sorties has been commissioned during that time. So, a gutekhini sale, ami buji pao je how massive operation was. আৰু যদি ডেটা পইণ্ট কাৰণে আমি আলোচনা কৰোঁ তেতিয়াহ'লে প্ৰায় 44,000 কুইণ্টল দালিও আমি ইয়াৰ লগত দিছিলোঁ আমি ইয়াৰ লগত মিঠাতেলে আমি দিছিলোঁ প্ৰায় 7,08,129 লিটাৰ 7 lakhs almost over 7 lakhs লিটাৰ আমি মিঠাতেলে দিছিলোঁ so 2,19,000 কুইণ্টল চাউল তাৰ পিছত দালি 43,000 কুইণ্টল মই ৰাফলি কৈছো আৰু আমাৰ মিঠাতেল অলমোষ্ট 7 লাখ লিটাৰ so it was a massive operation কিন্তু ইমান ডাঙৰ অপাৰেশ্যন এটাৰ পিছতো আমি দেখিছিলোঁ যে more or less আমাৰ ইনিশিয়েল এদিন বা দুদিনত যদিও আমাৰ কেতিয়াবা ডিস্ট্ৰিক্ট এডমিনিষ্ট্ৰেশ্যনৰ ইমিডিয়েট ৰেসপন্স কৰা দেৰি হৈছিলে বাট more or less আমি মানুহক সহায় কৰিবলৈ পাৰিছিলোঁ
And not just this, as many as 1.81 lakh families have received a financial assistance of rupees 3,800 each.
আমি ফ্যামিলি আইডেন্টিফাই কৰিছিলোঁ 1,89,752 আৰু আজি যদি আমি চাব যাওঁ তেতিয়ালে আমি দেখা পাওঁ যে এই গোটেই কেইটা পৰিয়ালকে আমি এই 3,800 টকা তেওঁলোকৰ হাতত আমি তুলি দিব পাৰিছো অৱশ্যে ইয়াত এটা সৰু ৰাইডাৰ আছে যে এই 1,81,000 বা 80,000 ফ্যামিলিৰ 35,000 ফ্যামিলি তাতে এতিয়াও টকাটো সোমোৱা নাই তেওঁলোকৰ বেংক একাউন্ট কেতিয়াবা আইএফসি ভেৰিফিকেশন আছে বাট আমি পুশ কৰি আছো আৰু এই মেজৰ নুসুমোৱা বেনিফিচিয়াৰি খিনি নগাঁও ডিস্ট্ৰিক্টতে বেছিকৈ আছে 17,000 but otherwise fund has been released বেংকৰ যেটো চেইনত পৰি আছে so 1,81,859 ফ্যামিলি লৈকে আমি 3,800 টকা তেওঁলোকৰ বেংক একাউন্টত আমি ট্ৰান্সফাৰ কৰিব পাৰিলো আৰু এই কথাখিনি মই এটু কাৰণে অকনমান এমফেসিস দি কৈছো যে এই মেসিভ অপাৰেশনটো আগত কেতিয়াও হোৱা নাছিল
And Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sharma today termed the Landslide Declaration as a historic step towards achieving a united Northeast. The Assam Chief Minister stressed that all issues can be resolved through talks. Talking on the resolution of dispute in 34 villages, Sharma informed that upon research, it was found that 28 villages were already in Arunachal and the names of the remaining 6 villages could not be traced.
অসম অৰুণাচলৰ সীমা সমস্যাৰ ওপৰত যোৱাকালি আমাৰ খুব ভাল এটা ডিসকাশন হৈছিল আৰু at the closure of the discussion after conclusion of the discussion we have released Landslide Declaration আপোনালোকে more or less Landslide Declaration আপোনালোকে দেখিছে তাত তিনিটা সিগনিফিকেন্ট আছিল যে সুপ্ৰিম কোৰ্টত আমি আজি 15 বছৰ ধৰি কাজিয়া কৰি আছো both government of Assam and government of Arunachal Pradesh কিন্তু আমি কেতিয়াও সোৱা নাছিলো গাঁওবোৰনো কি গাঁওবোৰনো কোট আছে গাঁওবোৰ আছে নে নাই যেতিয়া আমি এটা এনালাইসিস কৰিলো তেতিয়া আমাৰ ডিসি সকলে আমাক ৰিপৰ্ট দিলে যে স্যাৰ এই গাঁওবিলাকৰ অসমৰ ডিসি সকলে ৰিপৰ্ট দিলে যে 28 খন ভিলেজটো আমাৰ লগত নাইয়েই মানে আমাৰ নহয় from the day one নহয় যদি কিয় লিষ্টত আছে বলে স্যার অৰুণাচলে কিয় লিষ্টত দিছে আমি ক'ব নোৱাৰো আমাৰ সীমাৰ পৰা এটো 20 কিলোমিটাৰ ভিতৰত 15 কিলোমিটাৰ ভিতৰত আমাৰ লগত গাঁও বিলাকৰ কোনো সম্পৰ্কই নাই তেটা মই খুদিলো কনস্টিটিউশনাল বাউন্ডাৰী কি কয় সাৰ্ভে অফ ইণ্ডিয়াৰ পৰা আমি মেপ আনিলো মেপটো দেখা গল যে these are clearly within the constitutional boundary of Arunachal Pradesh অৰ্থাৎ একদম অৰুণাচলৰ ভিতৰত আছে অসমৰ ভৌগোলিক সীমাৰ ভিতৰত ই নপৰে সাংবিধানিক ভৌগোলিক ঐতিহাসিক কোনো এটা সীমাতে নপৰে কিয় কাজিয়া কৰি আছিল nobody knows তেতিয়া কালি আমি ডিসিশন ললো যে এই 28 খন গাঁৱৰ ওপৰত আমাৰ কোনো ক্লেইম নাই we have this is within the Arunachal আৰু আমি 6খন গাঁৱৰ নামেই ওলাব নোৱাৰিলো অসমৰ ফালৰ আমিয়ে কেছ দিছো ভাৰত চৰকাৰক তাৰপিছত লোকেল কমিশনো হৈছে সুপ্ৰিম কোৰ্ট এপইন্টেড কমিশনো আহিছে কিন্তু 6খন গাঁৱৰ অসমত কোনেও নামেই উলিয়াব নোৱাৰিলে আমি 3 মাহ চেষ্টা কৰিলো যে এই 6খন গাঁও আছে নেকি বা এইখন 6খন গাঁৱৰ কিবা অসমীয়া নাম আছে নেকি
The Assam Chief Minister termed the Namsai Declaration as a historic move to achieve a united Northeast, as envisaged by Prime Minister Narendra Modi.
মই ভাবো যে মেঘালয়ৰ পিছত yesterday was a historic day যে আমি এটা মানুহৰ মনত এটা কনফিডেন্স জেনাৰেট কৰিব পাৰিছো যে অসম অৰুণাচলৰ ডিসপিউটটো ৰিজলভ হ'ব
All right, on to the big update from the Manipur landslide tragedy site. One more body has been recovered from the tragedy site at None following relentless search operations. And with this recovery, the total number of bodies retrieved so far stands at 55, while at least 6 more persons are still missing. Significantly, today's breakthrough took place after 3 consecutive days of futile search operations. The body is believed to be that of a construction worker engaged with a private company. Meanwhile, the operations have been extended by 2 more days. So that is, of course, the big update as far as the Manipur landslide tragedy is concerned, viewers. One more body has been recovered from the tragedy site in Manipur's None district following relentless search operations. With this recovery, the total number of bodies recovered so far stands at 55, while at least 6 more persons are still missing. Significantly, today's breakthrough took place after 3 consecutive days of futile search operations. The body retrieved today is believed to be that of a construction worker engaged with a private company. Meanwhile, the operations have been extended to go on for 2 more days. Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sharma today dismissed any kind of new differences between the government and the Ulfa Independent as far as the peace process is concerned. Rejecting media reports, Chief Minister Sharma expressed hope that efforts will yield and long pending issues will be resolved through talks.
এটা আলফাটো সমস্যা হয় নে নহয় হেতু চিন্তা কৰিব লাগিব তো অসমৰ সমস্যাৰ ভিতৰত এটো পৰে নে নপৰে মইতো ভাবো যে এটো আমাৰ দুজন মানুহে কথা পাতি সমাধান কৰা এটো এটা ভুল বুজাবুজি সমস্যাৰ ভিতৰত বানপানী পৰিব সীমা সমস্যা পৰিব আমাৰ নিজৰ ভিতৰত কাজিয়া কৰি থকাটো আৰু আমি সমস্যা বুলি ক'ব নোৱাৰো গতিকে মই ভাবো যে এটো এটা ভুল বুজাবুজি পৰেশ বৰুৱাৰ এটা দৃষ্টিভংগী আছে অসমক লৈ আমাৰ এটা দৃষ্টিভংগী আছে আলোচনা কৰি এটো ঘৰৰ সমস্যা ঘৰত শেষ কৰিম উত্তৰ পূৰ্বৰ সমস্যা নহয় উত্তৰ পূৰ্বৰ সমস্যা মানে অসম মেঘালয়ৰ সমস্যা অসম অৰুণাচলৰ সমস্যা বানপানীৰ সমস্যা বিদ্যুতীকৰণৰ সমস্যা কমিউনিকেশনৰ সমস্যা ইন্টাৰনেটৰ সমস্যা আলফা সমস্যাটো অসমৰ সমস্যা বা নাগা সমস্যাটো নাগালেণ্ডৰ সমস্যা এটো উত্তৰ পূৰ্বৰ সমূহীয়া সমস্যাৰ ভিতৰত নপৰে
It's time for a short break now. More news and updates to follow on the other side. Stay tuned.
Lead the rescue operation from this side. This is Saroi Pandongba village. This is a river side on the Saroi Pandongba side.
हम और आप कभी नहीं सोच सकते थे कि डिमा हासाओं में इस तरह का न्यू हाफलोंग रेलवे स्टेशन इतना कुछ हो सकता है और इसी रेलवे स्टेशन में विस्ताडूम जैसा ट्रेन यहाँ पर स्पेशल टूरिस्ट आने जाने के लिए भी यहाँ पे रिसेंटली चलाया दिया गया था
You can see the people are trying. The local people are trying to help each other.
A university is much more than just a place to get your education. It not only helps you build your career, but also your personality and mindset. At Assam Royal Global University, you will get the most suitable environment to gain knowledge and also grow as a person. The university has the best infrastructure with all the required facilities and best quality equipment for any kind of educational need.
জ্বৰ মানে COVID-19 নহয়, ই জাপানীজ এনকেফ্লাইটিছৰো লক্ষণ হ'ব পাৰে, কাৰণ এই সময়খিনি জাপানীজ এনকেফ্লাইটিছৰ উচ্চ সংক্ৰমণৰ সময়, গতিকে আতংকিত নহ'ব। অতিপাত জ্বৰ, তীব্ৰ মূৰৰ বিষ, মানসিক অস্থিৰতা, ভ্ৰম আৰু সংজ্ঞানহীনতা, শৰীৰৰ কঁপনি আদি হৈছে জাপানীজ এনকেফ্লাইটিছৰ লক্ষণ। আপোনাৰ ক্ষেত্ৰতো যদি এনে কোনো লক্ষণ পৰিলক্ষিত হয়, তেনেহ'লে আশা, ANM, MPW বা ওচৰৰ চিকিৎসালয়ৰ সৈতে যোগাযোগ কৰক। সকলো জিলা চিকিৎসালয় আৰু চিকিৎসা মহাবিদ্যালয়ত জাপানীজ এনকেফ্লাইটিছৰ পৰীক্ষা আৰু চিকিৎসা বিনামূলীয়াকৈ প্ৰদান কৰা হয়। এই ৰোগৰ পৰা বাচি থাকিবলৈ খোৱাৰ সময়ত সদায় আঁঠুৱা ব্যৱহাৰ কৰক। ঘৰৰ ওচৰৰ পৰা গাহৰি আৰু গাহৰিৰ গঁৰাল আঁতৰাই ৰাখক। দীঘল হাতৰ চোলা আৰু দীঘল হাতৰ পেণ্ট পৰিধান কৰক। সন্ধিয়া ঘৰৰ ভিতৰে বাহিৰে ধোঁৱা দিয়াৰ ব্যৱস্থা কৰক। লগতে সকলো সময়তে কোভিড সংক্ৰান্তীয় নীতি নিয়মসমূহ মানি চলক। সতৰ্ক হওক, সুৰক্ষিত থাকক।
Welcome back, viewers, and on to another big story now. TMC leader and former Meghalaya Chief Minister Mukul Sangma has targeted the NPP-led state government over the law and order scenario in the Hill State. Speaking to Northeast Live, Mukul Sangma said that the government has been rather complacent in addressing issues related to the law and order situation. He stated that the government has to be given constant reminders to hold security meetings. Mukul Sangma cited the example of the police commission meeting, which needs to be convened once every 3 months. However, this has not been followed by the government.
What is important is that there is no space for complacency, and therefore there must be a visible result from the side of the government. But I don't see any result, because last time, based on my repeated reminder, the government called for the internal security meeting of the State Security Commission. It is more like a meeting to decide on various aspects, but that meeting was to understand the overall law and order situation. In other words, which we always say that internal security related issue. After that, what? How many months have gone? The State Police Act requires the state to have the State Police Commission meeting once in every 3 months. So how many times the leader of the opposition have to go on reminding the government? It is the responsibility of the government to respond to their call of duty with utmost sense of seriousness.
Notably, Mukul Sangma highlighted that not only Meghalaya but the entire Northeast has a porous international border which makes access to arms from neighboring countries that much easier, thereby posing as a serious threat to the state's law and order situation. It may be mentioned here that Meghalaya shares a long boundary with Bangladesh.
You cannot take things for granted all the time. I have always mentioned, based on what is ground reality in this part of the country, you have a long international border with Bangladesh, which is referred to as a porous border. And similarly, all other northeastern states have a porous international border, not only with Bangladesh, but with other neighboring states of these Southeast Asian countries, including China, Bhutan. And therefore, the vulnerability of this area, including the challenges of easy access to sophisticated arms, have always been there.
Another factor which Mukul Sangma pointed out was the pending resolution to the Naga settlement and also the presence of prescribed militant outfits in Assam. He said that these issues automatically exposes Meghalaya to a vulnerable situation. Shifting focus now, days after TMC MP Mohua Moitra triggered controversy by making comments against former CJI Ranjan Gogoi. This time, the Congress has also joined the league. Rajasthan Chief Minister Ashok Gehlot has triggered a fresh political storm by speaking against Gogoi. Addressing the 18th All India Legal Services Authority in Jaipur, Gehlot referred to the nomination of former Chief Justice of India, Ranjan Gogoi, as a Rajya Sabha MP. He said that Justice Gogoi was one of the 4 Supreme Court judges who had said that democracy is in danger, but became a parliamentarian post-retirement. Gehlot said that judges and bureaucrats should work to serve the country rather than be concerned about post-retirement benefits.
आप बताइए 4 सुप्रीम कोर्ट जजेस ने कहा लोकतंत्र खतरे में है। हम तुमने कहा कि इतनी बड़ी बात है कि 4 सुप्रीम कोर्ट जजेस ने और ये फला ये हो रहा सुप्रीम कोर्ट के अंदर और चिंता का विषय बन गया। उनमें से एक सीजीआई बन जाते हैं मिस्टर गोगोई और बाद में वही तरीका चलते जो पहले चल रहा था। तो राष्ट्रपति महोदय के सामने पूछा भाई मिस्टर गोगोई पहले ठीक थे अब ठीक है समझ के पहले अब बाद में हमें पार्लियामेंट बन गई नॉमिनेट हो गए। ये कम से कम कुछ तो बातें हम लोग खुद को सोचनी पड़ेगी किस रूप में हम ये जिंदगी में मैं मुख्यमंत्री बना हूँ कोई एमएलए बनता है एमपी बनता है प्राइम मिनिस्टर बनता है आप जैसे बनते हैं कितना गर्व होता है जिंदगी के अंदर हमें देश की सेवा करने का अवसर मिला है। तो जिंदगी 1000 साल की नहीं होती है और जो हमें वक्त मिला है जिंदगी का उसमें कुछ करें हम लोग देश के लिए करें। उसके अंदर अगर हम लोग रिटायरमेंट के बाद में हमें क्या बनना है क्या बन सकते हैं ये चिंता ब्यूरोक्रेसी में रहेगी जजेस में रहेगी तो फिर कैसे काम चलेगा। हालात बहुत गंभीर है देश के अंदर सरकार बदल रही बताइए तो
All right, back to the region now. In a tragic incident in Manipur's Churachandpur district, a man was shot dead today in a case of mistaken identity in Kailam village. The deceased has been identified as Kham Khanlun, who was shot by his cousin identified as Ginlal, mistaking him to be a bear. That's right, viewers, Kham Khanlun was hit by 2 bullets, killing him on the spot. As per inputs, the duo went hunting in the forest area of Kailam village under Thanlon subdivision and spotted a wild boar. Kham Khanlun took position on a tree hiding near the bushes, hoping that the boar would appear. On the other hand, the cousin Ginlal had taken position near a cliff where he spotted Kham Khanlun and shot him from the ground, confusing him to be a bear. Meanwhile, the villagers have taken down the body of the deceased from the tree. On to another big national focus now. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is chairing the all-crucial meeting of the BJP Parliamentary Board to pick its vice presidential candidate. As per the strength of the Electoral College, victory of the ruling NDA is certain. BJP sources said that it will also try to reach out to other parties to seek a consensus over the choice amidst indications that the opposition will also field its candidate to force a contest as it has for the presidential elections. The last date for filing of nominations for the polls is July 19th, and the elections are slated to be held on the 6th of August. The Electoral College for picking the next Vice President of India, who is also the Rajya Sabha chairperson, comprises of members of the Lok Sabha as well as the Rajya Sabha. And out of the parliament's current strength of 780, BJP alone has 394 MPs, more than the majority mark of 390. The term of the incumbent Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu ends on the 10th of August. And going by the choice of its presidential candidate, speculations are that the BJP may field an OBC or an upper caste candidate from a northern state. Meanwhile, the opposition parties have decided to field a joint candidate to contest against the government's nominee for the vice president's post. However, there is still no word yet on who will be the vice presidential candidate from the opposition side. So, of course, the big development coming in from New Delhi, Prime Minister Narendra Modi is chairing an all-crucial meeting of the BJP Parliamentary Board to pick its vice presidential candidate. As per the strength of the Electoral College, victory of the ruling NDA is certain. BJP sources said that it will also reach out to other parties to seek a consensus over the choice, amidst indications that the opposition will also field its candidate to force a contest, as it has for the presidential elections. The last date for filing of nominations for the polls is 19th of July, and the elections are slated to be held on the 6th of August. The Electoral College for picking the next Vice President of India, who is also going to be the Rajya Sabha chairperson, comprises of members from both the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha. And out of the parliament's current strength of 780, the BJP alone has 394 MPs, more than the required majority mark of 390. The term of the incumbent Vice President, M. Venkaiah Naidu, ends on the 10th of August. And going by the choice of its presidential candidate, speculations are rife that the BJP may field an OBC or an upper caste candidate from a northern state. Meanwhile, the opposition parties have decided to field a joint candidate to contest against the government's nominee for the vice president's post. However, there is still no word yet on who will be the vice presidential candidate from the opposition side. And coming back to Assam now, Rohan Kumar Jha has assumed office as the new Deputy Commissioner of Kachar today. Talking to our Silchar correspondent Bikram Sarkar, the new DC informed that his first responsibility is to take care of the issues in the flood-hit areas and those affected by the deluge. DC Rohan Kumar Jha said that it will be his priority to make Kachar one of the top 5 districts of Assam.
Rohan Kumar Jha, who is a newly appointed DC of Kachar, has already joined and started his work. We will have a talk with him. Now, what is your vision for this district?
Right now, I'm looking forward to various issues, but the first thing which comes to my mind is tackling the flood situation. That is my first short-term goal. And thereafter, I'll try to bring Kachar in the top 5 in all the development indices. Like we have many flagship schemes going on. We have many projects going on where CM sir is personally monitoring our progress. So I'll try my best to take this district to the top 5.
Okay. So will you be also try to get in connect with the common people to knowing their problems and issues?
Obviously. Today also I went to 2 relief camps because as Honorable CM sir has already instructed us that we should always be on tour. Every week, at least 2 days should be on tour. So that will be done. Thank you.
So we heard Rohan Kumar Jha, the new Deputy Commissioner of Kachar district, and he will also, he assigned that as been assigned by the CM as he's monitoring the entire situation, he will also try to bring Kachar in the top priority list and in the list of the top districts. You are watching Northeast Live with camera person Nirmal Malakar. I'm Vikram Sarkar from Silchar.
Shifting focus now, the ruling Sikkim Krantikari Morcha or SKM government in Sikkim today unanimously decided to support the NDA presidential candidate Draupadi Murmu. The decision was taken in the 14th edition of the SKM legislators meeting. The meeting also discussed the strategies of the party for the forthcoming Panchayat elections, which is slated to be held between the 2nd of November to the 12th of November. And as part of the Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, it has been decided that the national flag will be hoisted in every household in Sikkim. So indeed, the big development coming in from the Himalayan state at this point in time, the Sikkim Krantikari Morcha today unanimously decided to support NDA presidential candidate Draupadi Murmu. The decision was taken in the 14th edition of the SKM legislators meeting. And the meet also discussed the strategies of the party for the forthcoming Panchayat elections, which is slated to be held between the 2nd and the 12th of November. As part of the Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, it has been decided that the national flag will be hoisted in every household of Sikkim. Back to Manipur now. A graduation ceremony of 10-day induction training program for teachers and headmasters of government schools was held today at Imphal in Manipur. Teachers and headmasters of government schools were benefited from this training program. The graduation ceremony was attended by Chief Minister N. Biren Singh and Education Minister T. Basanta Kumar Singh. The Chief Minister, speaking to the media, said that the training program is a part of School Fagatansi program, meaning Let's Improve School, which was launched back in 2018. The Chief Minister further expressed his happiness to see the energetic teachers and headmasters and hoped the mission will be a successful one. Besides, the ceremony was also attended by MLA Paulian Lal Haukip, Commissioner Education Gyan Prakash, and Director Education L. Nandakumar, amongst others.
It is a program under the school fagarancy, means let us improve the schools, which was launched in the year 2018. But now we have identified a company who are giving training to the students, the STAR company, joining with the Americans and Western countries export. And today's gathering is a second phase outpass of the teachers who train 10 days continuously. And I'm very happy to see the energetic mentality in the behavior of the teachers. And I think this mission will definitely success, and improvement in the old government school will come up.
On to another big story now. The Amarnath Yatra has been halted once again due to inclement weather conditions. All routes are shut for now as the pilgrimage has been stopped on a precautionary basis. No pilgrims are allowed to move towards the holy cave from both Pahalgam and Baltal camps. Earlier, the yatra was stopped following heavy rainfall on the 14th of July and after a massive cloudburst on the 8th of July. Meanwhile, over 1.64 lakh yatris have performed the ongoing Amarnath Yatra as another batch of 5,449 pilgrims left Jammu for the valley on Thursday. Officials of Sri Amarnath Ji Shrine Board said 1.64 pilgrims have performed the yatra so far. Another batch of 5,449 pilgrims left the Bhagwati Nagar base camp in Jammu in 2 escorted convoys for the yatra. And of these, 3,783 are going to the Pahalgam base camp, while 1,666 are going to the Baltal base camp. And those using the shorter Baltal route have to trek 14 kilometers to reach the cave shrine, while those using the longer traditional Pahalgam route have to trek 48 kilometers for 4 days to reach the cave shrine. Helicopter services are available on both the routes for the yatris. The annual 43-day pilgrimage commenced on the 30th of June from the twin base camps of Nunwan in Pahalgam of South Kashmir's Anantnag and Baltal camp in Central Kashmir's Ganderbal district. The yatra is scheduled to end on the 11th of August on the occasion of Raksha Bandhan. And on to the big international focus now as the race to become Britain's next Prime Minister gains pace. Caretaker
और इसी रेलवे स्टेशन में विस्ताडूम जैसा ट्रेन यहाँ पर स्पेशल टूरिस्ट आने जाने के लिए भी